What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have 8 years working in the UK. Honest opinions from the Adventures in App channel. Y'all go check her out. Her vids are awesome. Before we dive into this, though, if you guys happen to enjoy it, please don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is smash that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Now let's dive right in.
Hi everyone, it's me. My name is Alana and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the last 8 years, and with that I have been working in the UK for the last 8 years. Work. Who doesn't love working, eh? So have a seat, get a cup, and put your feet up. I thought it would be fun to share some of the differences I've noticed over the last 8 years working here in the UK versus what I'm used to back home in Canada. Yeah. So without further ado, let's go.
I would say before I started doing YouTube, I didn't necessarily like working at all. It feels good to be productive, to be busy. Like, it feels good to be doing something. Keep your mind busy. But I just didn't enjoy the jobs that I worked. So not that I didn't enjoy working, I didn't enjoy the jobs that I was working. So some days I'd be tired, and some days I don't want to get in front of the camera. But this job is a lot more enjoyable than any other job I've done.
One of the biggest surprises, and honestly at first I thought this was a prank, has to do with taxes. Now in Canada, as a employee, you are responsible for submitting your taxes.
Yes.
It is done by you as the person and not as like the business that employs you. Whether you're self-employed, other types of employment. What other types of employment? It falls on you to do your taxes. So every year, this is something my mom and I would do, especially growing up. I've been working since I was 16. I've always had a job. The only time there was like a period when I didn't have a job was like the 2 months when I first moved here. Month and a half. But every year my mom and I would sit down and she would help me file my taxes. They are confusing, and it's kind of confusing on purpose, which you just love. So like the US, it's difficult, it's your responsibility. If you mess up, consequences.
Don't mess up.
So my mom would use this program called TurboTax. Any Canadians, Americans, TurboTax, it basically is a program that sort of walks you through the process, asks you very specific questions, you fill in your answers and the figures and stuff, and you submit your taxes. And that's just the way it works. Now, I'm very grateful that Canada does not do double taxation. So from my very limited understanding, if you are American and you work in a foreign country, you are taxed in the foreign country and you're taxed in America,
what I've heard.
Which is so gross.
Insane.
Yuck.
That's the US for you, though. That's hey, you may be working in another country, but we're gonna get ours, which is absolutely crazy. Like, if I am not working in the US, why am I paying taxes in the US? If I'm not I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything from the US. So why am I paying taxes? Like, if I don't make enough, will I get a tax? Will I get a tax refund from the U.S.? Will they give me money? It's weird. It's a very weird system how all that works. When I hear like foreigners from the U.S. that live in other places talk about that kind of baffles me.
Canada doesn't do that, thankfully. Knock on wood, cross your fingers, whatever. So I currently don't submit taxes in Canada while I'm living here in the UK. Now, what do we do here with taxes? So for me, this was such a huge shock that I honestly thought my coworkers at my first job here in the UK were pranking me because they said I didn't need to file taxes. So for most people, not everybody of course, but for most people working in the UK, you're under a PAYE scheme, pay as you earn. And you do not have to submit a tax return at the end of the accounting year. Absolutely incredible. Now, my working career, my working life has changed a lot over the last 8 years. I started out as a full-time temp employee, which feels like a million years ago. Then I transitioned to a classic full-time employee, away from the temp agency. Then I changed careers and I was again a full-time employee for a different company. And underneath all of that was Adventures in Apps. So now as a self-employed person, I submit my taxes once again. I submit my self-assessment on Adventures in Apps as a business. It Took a long time to earn money. I'll tell you that much. Now, as it does earn some money, I do need to submit a self-assessment, which reminds me a lot of filing my taxes back in Canada. So I've kind of done a full circle, and we are back to filing taxes. But let me tell you, those years when I didn't have to was just peace. I didn't mean for this video to be mainly talking about taxes. Next up, a big difference.
So taxes here. Yeah, taxes here. You do have to, if you're trying to do them yourself and you don't know much about it, like, I would say they are difficult. Like, if you're a professional in the thing, it's not really difficult. But the only thing I love in the sense of doing them yourself is you can kind of find all the tax breaks that are available, and like try to get as much breaks or cuts or as much money back as possible when filing your taxes. And so, I mean, you find the right people and they know about, they're professionals who know all the stuff, then you end up getting some money back when maybe you thought you were going to have to pay some, or you end up paying a lot less than you think you'd have to pay. So, if you find the right person, they can find all and purely legal, they can find all the tax breaks and cuts for you. So I do enjoy that. But pay as you earn. I absolutely love the aspect of just paying, like she said, as you earn, and not having to worry about filing taxes at the end of the year, not having to worry about that, not having to stress about that. So that is completely awesome. Double taxation is absolutely crazy concept, but it's the United States. They're always going to get their money. Probably another form of America not wanting its citizens to live anywhere else. Because that would motivate you to stay in America if you knew you're gonna have to pay taxes in the U.S. and wherever you're moving to. But yeah, taxes are TurboTax. Let me say, I never really get no money back with TurboTax. TurboTax was the most basic, simple form of filing your taxes. Then you finding the breaks and the cuts and everything. For you, in my personal experience, I never got the fully deluxe package, though I never paid for that. But they never found anything for me. Find a person. Find a professional who's going to find all the breaks and cuts for you.
Drinking after work. So in Canada, again, this is all my personal experience. In Canada, maybe we would go out for a drink after work on a Friday. Typically, we would have a meal. So by the time you finish work on a Friday, you get to a sports bar or a restaurant or something, you have a couple of drinks, and then we would normally just have dinner because you're there. So you'd have a meal, you'd have a drink, and you'd head home. Great, perfect. It's simple, it's convenient, there's food involved, which is one of my favorite things, and you don't have to worry about making dinner by the time you get home. Now, every time I mention this story, here in the UK, I get so many comments, emails, DMs, people basically saying eating is cheating. What's the competition? What do I mean? So here in the UK, after work, usually on a Friday we got to leave 30 minutes early. How absolutely exciting. We would go to a pub and we would have drinks. And that would be it. People were not looking to get a meal. People were not looking to have like a sit-down restaurant kind of thing. We would go to the pub. We would just have drinks. And you could be there for hours. So for me, this was always a bit of a struggle because, I had lunch at like 12 o'clock. I finally get home because, I was having to take the bus at this point. Take the bus, get home. It's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock maybe. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so maybe I have to get like takeout on the way home, or I try and make something once I get home. But I've been drinking and I'm like out of it and I'm starving. And it was just like not my preferred kind of social interaction. When I drink, I want to eat. I get peckish. I get, a little snacky. I want to have something. That's just a personal preference. Next up, something I noticed was tea.
I feel like that eating is cheating is kind of a saying. Like, when I was in a fraternity, that would have been a saying there. Like, eating is cheating. Like, no. Like, let that alcohol hit you. But I feel like, my last meal was at 12 o'clock. There's no way on the Lord's green earth that I'm surviving until 8 or 9 p.m. without eating something. I've got to eat. Maybe eat around 4 or 5, and then I can drink with you till about 8 or 9. And but I love that. Shout out to the UK. Eating is cheating. You are trying to win a competition, right? You're trying to see who can drink the most with without blacking out or without getting absolutely plastered. Trying to see how much alcohol you can drink. Eating is cheating. Because if you eat, it's going to soak some of that alcohol up. It's going to take some of that drunkenness away. You're going to be able to drink a little bit more. So, yeah. I got you, UK. And I rocks with it.
Versus coffee. Now, in
Cuppa
Canada, no one comes to mind that was a big tea drinker in our office. For like the variety of jobs that I had in Canada, nobody really stands out as drinking tea. In my last job in Canada, we would have someone do a Tim's run. So, Tim Hortons, very big Canadian coffee chain. They're now global, which is a separate story. I don't want them to be global. Let's just leave that there. We'll come back to that later. So someone would do a Tim's run and they would buy coffees for everybody and kind of take turns. Someone would go to like a drive-through, come back with coffees, maybe a couple of donuts, who knows. And obviously that is not a cost-effective way. When we had a coffee maker like in the office, but sometimes that's what people wanted. They wanted coffee that tastes like Tim's. They wanted Tim's, whatever. I also don't think I worked in any Canadian office that pooled money for things like sugar, milk, tea bags, coffee. Like I don't remember ever contributing to like a little pool of money for those types of kitchen bits. I do remember there would be a section of our admin type budget that would cover those costs. Yes. So we as employees were not pooling money together. Yes. There would be sugar, milk, coffee, tea bags, whatever. Here in the UK, I have not been lucky enough to work at a business that had a coffee maker or even like an espresso pods or a knockoff version. It has only been instant coffee. Instant coffee is obviously extremely convenient. It's just the way it is. Now, before I moved to the UK, I did not know instant coffee existed. I have never known anyone in Canada ever to drink instant coffee. I did not know that was a thing. But it's obviously very convenient here in British offices because you are absolutely going to have a kettle. Boil the kettle, put some instant coffee granules in a cup, and there you have it. You have quote-unquote coffee. Because typically most people are having tea and they're using the kettle. So again, you got one appliance, kind of works for two different drinks. And in terms of like kitchen supplies, the offices that I've worked at have a kitty. So if you are going to be using sugar or milk or tea bags or instant coffee, you would put some money towards the kitty, and then usually like the receptionist or the manager or somebody would go out and buy little bits, do a little run to Asda or Tesco and get stuff. But you would be contributing towards that. Hold that thought. Let's take a second to talk about today's sponsor. Oh my god, this video is sponsored by Odoo. Welcome to my dad.
I'm going to skip the sponsor, but I absolutely respect that in terms of, right, if you're going to use it, put some money in. Pitch money in. I mean, I prefer for the company to pay for it. Of course, you prefer for the business to have it in a little admin, in the budget somewhere. But if not, pull the money together for the stuff that you're going to drink only makes sense to me since you actually get a benefit out of it. I'm not a coffee or tea person, so I guess I don't have much to say on that topic. I'm just not a hot drinks person in general. I like all my drinks cold. And we'll dive back in right here.
Holidays. Now, loads of people ask, would you ever go back to Canada? Certainly. It's always going to be there. I am Canadian. I have Canadian citizenship. My family is in Canada. It is always an option. However, this is something that I would really struggle with accepting. So let me explain. For most companies in Canada, regular jobs, for most people, you will get 10 holidays or 10 vacation days. We use vacation in Canada, not the word holiday. So you get 10 days. Okay. 2 weeks if you think with weekends. If you want more vacation time, you have to work with the same employer for years to slowly build it up. So for example, my mom worked for one company her entire working career, her entire life at one company, and she worked her way up to 6 weeks vacation. Her entire life was spent at this company. 6
That's
weeks.
crazy.
And to be fair, I
That's
don't
crazy.
think people are doing that anymore. I don't think many people are working for one company for
No.
their entire life.
No.
So the
Not in
odds
this
of building up
generation.
vacation, it gets even more difficult. Here in the UK, for most employees, you're looking at 28 days holiday.
That's nice.
Need I say anything more?
That's
Most people who
nice.
watch my videos
That's
are
nice.
British. Hi, how's it going? You are probably very familiar. You're probably very well accustomed to how much holiday time you get here in the UK. It's like 5.5 weeks or something ridiculous. Imagine,
amazing.
just sit for a second. Imagine for an entire calendar year, you only have 2 weeks vacation.
It's rough out here.
And you live in Canada. So say you want to go on like a Europe trip. How fun. You want to go to Italy or France or something. 2 weeks for the entire year. A very surprising difference. A very, very shocking cultural difference for me working here in the UK is office banter. Now
I feel like, you can't really do nothing with 2 weeks. You can sit at home, probably get some housework done. And, I mean, that's about it. You can do a staycation. But you can't really go anywhere. You only got 2 weeks for the entire year, which is crazy. And then you kind of look on the UK. Not only do they have that vacation time, but also with sick leave. From what I've heard, when you're sick, you don't go into work. You call in. I'm sick. There is no such thing as a certain amount of sick days or no. You just don't go. You call in, tell them I'm sick, won't be in today. There you go. So that's a lot different, and I think it's incredible to give your employees to start off with that much vacation. 4 weeks is, come on now, you can get a lot done in 4 weeks. And then I'm not sure how it is in the UK either, but even when you get your vacation time in the US, you also have to, you're also kind of told when you can and can't use it. So it's like you got this time built up, now you want to use it. It's like, no, actually you can't use it at this moment. We actually need you to continue working right now. You can use it during this time when it slows up. And when it slows up is not a time that you really want to go on vacation or anything. So that's just kind of how it is. It's tough. Here in the U.S., at least, she's talking about Canada, kind of one and the same, the way she explained it.
in Canada, office banter, office socialization really depends on the particular job. I found, in my experience. So I've had some workplaces where you do not socialize as an office. Like, people are not meeting up afterwards. There's not a real office banter. It's quite serious. People, I was in one that was quite miserable, and everyone was a bit miserable. No office banter. I've had other workplaces in Canada that were very social, very friendly. People hung out outside of work. Maybe we would go out for a meal on a Friday night. And there would obviously be joking around and banter to some extent, but nothing like it is here. Walking into my first job in England, I remember my boss was shouting across the office something along the lines of, "You utter wanker, you call this done, this is a piece of shit. Are you having a laugh?" My jaw on the ground. Obviously not all British workplaces have very colorful banter, but I think comparatively there's always going to be more here than you would see naturally, traditionally in Canada. Taking the piss, swearing, banter, sarcastic, kind of deprecating stuff. There's a lot. It's typically all in good-natured fun.
Yeah.
But if you come from a country that doesn't partake in this type of inter-office communication, I think it would be very, very surprising. How about differences
I'm not surprised. I reacted to a video. It was like USA kids like dissing each other or whatever versus UK. Like, it was like banter, whatever, and it was like, I was like, I love to, before I started the video, I'm like, I love to make fun of my friends. I love to, like, go back and forth. We love to clown on each other. That's what we do. Like, and then I watched the video and I saw how the UK clowns around with each other, how the UK takes the piss out of each other. And I said, oh, that's completely different. They have taken it to another level, a level that I don't think many of us, if any of us, would take it here in the U.S. without someone getting offended. And so I said, oh, okay. Okay, yeah, okay. So with the UK talk about banter and taking a piss, they really mean that. As in the US, yeah, we kind of around with each other, but it's nothing on that same. It's nothing on that level. It is legit nothing on that level.
Sick leave. Laws in Canada can be kind of funny because we have provincial laws, but we also have federal laws. Kind of like the US, right? You got state laws and you got federal laws. I'm from Ontario, so typically what are we sort of looking at in terms of sick leave? Typically, most workplaces allow 3 unpaid days of sick leave, whether that's an illness or an injury. 3 days per calendar year, and typically they don't accumulate. So you have your 3 that year. Whether you use them or not, you're going to have 3 next year. And typically you have to work for an employer for like 2 weeks, kind of like 2 weeks probationary time before you get those 3 days. Now,
and also, just to add a little bit onto that, it's to the point where, like, if you're sick, then you are going to have, if you call in sick, you're going to have to prove that you were sick. You have to go to the hospital. You better come with a doctor's note when you come back to work that says you were sick. You cannot just say, hey, I'm sick. No. Okay, well, come with a doctor's note. And that's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I understand some people want to play, like, hooky. Some people want to just kind of use a sick day and they're not really sick. But, like, it's to the point where, you got to have it. If you're too sick to come to work, you better be going to the doctor. And you better be getting the doctor note. Almost like you're in school and it's like, you got to bring a doctor's note to school to explain your absence. Or otherwise, it's like a unofficial absence or something like that. I can't remember the exact name of it, but yeah. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Now in the UK, and I love HR, give me a call. From my understanding, now I've not had a lot of experience with this, thankfully, knock on wood, cross fingers. From my understanding, if you are sick in the UK, you can call in sick.
There you go.
Revolutionary. For the first 7 days of sickness, you can self-certify as an employee to your employer that you are ill. This means you don't need a doctor's note. You don't need quote-unquote proof. You can self-certify for the first 7 days. After 7 days, you're going to need a note from some sort of healthcare professional. But for the first 7 days, you can do that yourself. And obviously, different employers and different businesses will have like a different process for reporting sickness. From my understanding, technically, there's no upper limit, like maximum amount of sick days. But obviously, if you are just off sick, that's going to be a conversation with your employer. What's going on? How do we get you back in the workplace? That sort of stuff. But when I was reading about this, that you can self-certify for 7 days. Absolutely incredible. HR, give me a call. I hope that's right. Next up, Christmas due.
There you go.
And to be honest, Christmas due.
I think that's awesome to certify. Yeah, because if it's over 7 days, obviously you got to see the doctor. Like, there's something. If you're out for more than 7 days, there's something wrong with you, and we need to figure out what exactly is wrong. Go to the hospital. But if you're out for 1 or 2 days, then being able to self-certify is amazing. Where you don't have to. I'm out for today, like. But now I gotta go to the doctor, get a doctor's note, and just because I was out sick today. I feel you.
Oh, I hope that's right. Next up, Christmas due. And to be honest, Christmas due is a very British saying, because in Canada we would probably say Christmas party. So for my own personal experience, I've never worked in a Canadian office that had a big Christmas party. Just never happened. For me. I do remember we had a Secret Santa one year where, I mean, you know what Secret Santa is. You pull a name out of a hat, you have to buy that person a gift, and they don't know who bought it for them or whatever. But I never worked in a place that we had like an actual party or like a meal out for Christmas. In the UK, in the businesses that I've worked for, we would have a Christmas do, which when someone first said that to me, I didn't know what that was because I've never heard that string of words together. Christmas party. I never heard that as a Christmas do, but I've had it where we will go out for a meal and have like a bit of a party. And to be fair, our Christmas dues, at least the ones that I went to, were always a bit wild. I remember there was one where we booked like an event, like somebody was putting on an event, and we booked so many people for this Christmas do, and there was unlimited wine. So
it got
was a
crazy.
Good party. What about
I was gonna say it got crazy. Unlimited wine. Y'all going all out for the Christmas parties, huh? Y'all doing it up for the Christmas. Okay. I see you. For Christmas is here. I just wanted to the company to say, you know what, y'all getting a bonus. That's all I care about. Are we getting a Christmas bonus or not? Like, you giving us, you want to give us a party? That's cool. I'll show up. You don't want to give us a party? That's fine. I'll get a party with my friends. But are we getting a Christmas bonus? That's all I really cared about.
Birthdays. This is also a difference between the two countries that I never really considered. So in Canada, from my experiences, I only ever really remember signing a birthday card that would get passed around the office. Probably like a manager bought it or someone in admin, and we'd all sign it. You'd be like, oh, whose birthday is it? And you'd sign it. I'm sure it depends on the office. That was kind of the vibe. Some offices, the miserable one in particular, I don't think anyone knew whose birthday was who. Like, there's no conversation about birthday parties at all. It was a very serious office, down to business. People didn't hang out. We didn't do banter. And we certainly didn't do birthday presents. Here in the UK, especially in the last big office I worked in, it felt like it was someone's birthday constantly. And the big difference that I witnessed was we would have a whip around. And you would contribute some money towards a present for that person, and then typically, again, the manager or someone in admin would go out and buy a little something, maybe a bottle of something, maybe a box of chocolates or a plant or something like that. But we would all join the whip. I don't know, there'd be a whip around. You put your money in towards a present. But the birthday person would bring in their own treats for the office, which I was always so fascinated by. So maybe they would get like one of those pre-made Asda cakes, or like a tray of cupcakes, or you know how you can get like those like miniature cakes? Some people would bring in like multiple mini cakes because there'd be different flavors. But I always thought it was so interesting. The birthday person is responsible for bringing in their own treats.
That is very different.
Incredible. Now, ever since
different. I feel like, but I've seen that in different videos before. That's very different as a birthday person having to bring your own cake. I'm just not used to that. It's a completely new thing, but different strokes for different folks. Different cultures have different things. My birthday, I don't really expect anything for my birthday at this point. I feel like in my family, once you hit a certain age, your birthdays you're celebrating like happy birthday, but it really ain't no presents coming your way. So it's been like that. So on my birthdays, I don't really. I made it around the sun one more year. Very thankful. Very happy. But I guess you just don't expect presents or anything.
2020, I have worked remotely entirely, whether that is for a business that I'm employed with or Adventures in Apps. Obviously, it has been total remote. And sometimes I catch myself thinking like, do I miss working in a traditional office? And sometimes, yeah. But also, I think I overlook all the terrible elements of working in an office for the like nostalgic good times. I miss office gossip. Big time. I miss socializing with people in the office, making new friends. I absolutely do not miss commuting. Absolutely not. But also, like, having a meeting about my SMART goals and meeting all my KPIs and all that kind of stuff. No, thank you. Or attending meetings that could have been an email and all that fun stuff. I'm very grateful that Adventures in Apps has turned into something. Very grateful. I hope I didn't jinx it. It obviously will not last forever. Yeah, that's just the way it is. It's never going to last forever. But I'm happy that I had this experience, and I hope it continues on. And at some point, I probably will find myself back in a traditional office. And at least then I'll get some office gossip. It's kind of hard to gossip when you work in your own house. But thank you guys so much for watching this
She's
video.
not lying.
I hope you had fun. Leave a comment down below. Have you ever worked in a foreign country, and what was the biggest difference that surprised you? If you'd like to watch more content, which would be totally awesome, why not check out this one? All of the weird stuff in my British kitchen. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!
I definitely completely understand where she's coming from when she talks about like working remotely. I started full-time YouTube around the pandemic, probably YouTube full-time maybe 2 years, and it's been absolutely enjoyable. But in terms of missing certain things, like you say, you miss socializing with people. Yeah, you miss, I guess, making friends at work. You miss the banter going back and forth. That's always there, but I don't miss it all. The unrealistic expectations, I guess having to miss out on things because I had to work, having to, I being on someone else's schedule and not being able to make my own. I don't miss any of that. Like this, I do YouTube full time now, and I'm happy. Like, although there's certain things I miss, overall, I get to stay at home with my family, and that's more important to me. Especially now that we just had a newborn son, I get to stay home and walk out of this door at any time and get to see him. And then YouTube's like a 9 to 5 for me. Like I work basically 8 to 9 hours a day on YouTube, so it's basically still office job. Just no one else in the office but me. But I absolutely love this video on kind of some of the comparisons working in the UK and working in Canada, which is basically the same as working in the US, the way she kind of explained things. So that is all we have. If there's more differences, please drop them in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed that, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, check out the next one. I'll see you next time.